CQ, 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 calling CQ. CQ, the old friend's net. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ, the old friend's net. This net meets 3 times weekly, Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m., Thursday mornings at 9 a.m., and Sunday afternoons at 4 p.m. on this frequency. And the net is conducted in the amplitude modulation mode and the roundtable format. We will take check-ins, make a list, and everyone will have their turn to make a transmission. This net's a great place to exchange information, look for parts and pieces, maybe trade a rig or two, and just have a good time of fellowship, mainly focusing on vintage equipment. So CQ, the old friend's net. Stations wishing to check in, give WA4LLR a call and come now.
And 4LQ.
KZ4 Bravo.
WB4ARK.
WB4NKL.
WA4EVK.
W4VRO.
Okay, let's see what we've got here. I've got N4LQ. I believe it was KZ4 Bravo. And then there was another station, but that one didn't make it. WB4ARK, WB4NKL, WA4EVK, W4VRO. Who did I miss?
K4GDN.
All right, George, I've got you. You were the one, evidently, that doubled with John. So we'll put you after John and before Buddy. All right. Any others?
W4UOC.
All right, we have you, Tom, W4UOC. Any others? Okay, let me go down the list again. N4LQ, KZ4B, K4GDN, WB4ARK, WB4NKL, WA4EVK, W4VRO, W4UOC. Anyone else? All right, nothing heard. Well, good morning to everybody. We've got 33 degrees, mostly sunny up here in Burnsville, North Carolina. Running the BC610C, receiving on the HQ150. So that's pretty much what's going on here. We'll go ahead and get the ball rolling. Steve, here it comes, N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Okay, N4LQ in the group, KZ4 Bravo, fine business, Steve. The T150 sounding great this morning. Conditions seem to be excellent. I don't hear any RFI noise. Amazing. In shifting gears, I don't know if any of you guys saw the Daytona race yesterday, but it concluded with an awesome wreck that wiped out about half the field. And William Byron, who took over from Jeff Gordon on the Rick Hendricks team, ended up winning strictly by luck, I'm sure, because indeed it wiped out half the field. I have just about totally lost interest in NASCAR racing because everything is so sterile. Things are too similar. The chassis are all done by NASCAR, and the engines are the only difference, but the rules make them the same. It's not what it used to be, in my humble opinion. But that was one exciting end, and it points out the fact that the safety is unbelievable. The only injuries were wrists and fingers due to rack and pinion steering that has lots of feedback, but when you're in a wreck type situation, the wheel spins out of control. So things have come a long way. Just ask Fireball Roberts. So, George, take it away. K4GDN in the group, KZ4B over.
KZ4B in the group, it's K4GDN, and the band does seem to be pretty good this morning. This morning I'm running the Ranger 2, lightly loaded into the attenuator, putting out about 10 watts, driving the Collins 30L1, and putting out a carrier somewhere between 150 and 175 watts. And everybody seems to be coming in here fairly good this morning. The band does seem to be in good condition. So with that, buddy, I'll pass it on to you. WB4ARK in the group, K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4ARK. All right, everybody's got a good signal coming into Lake Wiley today. We're using the ART-13, R3090A, and suffering tremendous pain in my shoulder, left shoulder, up high. I was working on this KWM last night, and I realized that my shoulder was getting sore. And it continued, and so I stopped to go downstairs to see about what we were going to do for supper. Well, it got worse, and I didn't get probably more than 30 minutes sleep last night. The pain was so intense, and I had taken some Motrin. That didn't help. So we are suffering through it today. We're in less pain right now, but it has been a troubling time because I had a carpal tunnel problem a couple of years ago and had surgery, which cleared that problem up. But I certainly hope this is not a recurring issue on the left side, but it started in my shoulder, not in my arm. So hopefully this will be a pinched nerve and will get better. So with that, over to WB4NKL, WB4ARK.
WB4ARK, it's WB4NKL. I hope you get over that, buddy. That's aggravating. Something just starts and you don't even know what got it started. Hopefully it'll go away like it come. Name here is Cliff, located in Limestone, Tennessee, running a VX100B Heath kit into a Palstar tuner, ladder line into a 160 meter dipole, and a 75S3 receiver. Everybody's sounding good. The band seems to be in pretty good condition. John, I was down at South Daytona a couple weeks ago. They had a parade down on the old racetrack, Daytona racetrack. and we was there for the parade, and they had a lot of the old cars from the 50s going around it, plus a lot of other antique cars. But it's a real change from 50s to the present time. I'm sure that races would have been a lot more exciting back in the day when everybody had control over their own cars, and you know, they were mostly just mechanics out of different garages building up stuff and experimenting. Sort of like us running the boat anchors compared to the rice boxes nowadays, I guess. But I enjoyed the parade down there. Go ahead, Boone. WA4EVK. It's WB4NKL.
WB4NKL in the group. WA4EVK. Good morning, everyone. Looks like it's going to be a nice bright day here. Name is Boone, located in Pickens, South Carolina. Running an AF68 into a Swan Mark I amplifier. About 300 watts to a 80 meter in-fed, up about, I'd say she's about 40 feet on this, where I've got this one sitting. Yeah, the past NASCAR was definitely dangerous, but I'm just still aware of how that used to go, let's say. In elementary school, one of my best friends was Fireball Roberts' nephew, and they were sad times indeed around when he got killed in the wreck. So enough about that. I sure hope that shoulder gets better. I think several of us have suffered through similar type situations, and it's pretty tough. Was on me. I know Steve's had similar problems, so let's hope you can get something done with it. And with that, I'm going to send it on to W4VRO to take it. WA4EVK.
WA4EVK and the net. W4VRO. Thank you, Boone, and good morning. Good morning, Dave. Good morning to everyone on the net. It was 29 degrees here at first daylight this morning, and mostly clear and calm. Dave, the BC610 sounds great. And Steve, the T150 sounds really good. It has good audio. I built a T150 from a kit. I think it was 1962 or 1963. Not sure which, and it worked well. And they had a matching receiver, I believe, which I built also, maybe a little earlier than that. Fun building those old kits, and fun building most anything from scratch or whatever. That's when you could get parts easily from numerous sources locally, U.S. parts. John, good to hear you this morning. Never know what to expect, John, between you and me. Conditions vary a lot. Sometimes you're S9 and really booming in, and other times a little noise on your signal. So, and it's the latter this morning. George, good to hear you as well as I can. George, I was in the shack. I think it was last week or week before. I didn't have the transmitter turned on. I was busy doing some things, but your signal was so strong. It was S7 to S9. Conditions were just ideal between us, and that's rare, but just armchair copy that day. Buddy, I hope you find the problem with your shoulder. I know that's really painful and aggravating. ART sounds great. And Cliff, your signal's not as good as usual. Rapid QSB this morning. I guess it's getting a little late in the morning, and wasn't copying you solid, as I nearly always do. And Boone, the AF68 sounds good and very strong. I said rapid QSB, Boone, you were the best example. You started out at a little above S9 and then toward the end of your conversation, you're going from S3 to S9, but still Q5. Tom, good to hear you this morning, and I wonder if you're on the lake or on the river. But I think you're on the lake because I believe you usually sign portable 4 when you're at the cabin. But good to hear you, and glad you checked in with us. Over to you, W4UOC and the group, W4VRO.
Okay, W4VRO, W4UOC. Boy, you're booming in. I'm at Lake Arrowhead. And that's right. And I'm at the cabin. They portable 4. I think illegally that's what I'm supposed to do because my license is here. I'm experiencing the same conditions. Some signals quite strong and some not so. I'm not sure. And it seems to be changing pretty rapidly. One is weak, the others will come up. I'm sort of cheating here today. I know it's the Old Friends group, and I don't know if that's supposed to be also the Old Gear group. I do belong to the Vintage Sideband group, but anyway, I'm cheating a little bit today. I gave away my Mohawk to a fellow in Alabama, and he wasn't doing anything with them. And he said, "Do you want them back?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll take them back." I was a young man when I gave them to him. Now at 83, I'm finding I didn't know these things could be this heavy. I struggle. Our home it's a ranch on the front because of the slope, and it's 2-story in the back, and I have a shack down here, what they call the terrace level. I try to keep it sort of XYL approved and somewhat neat, but anyway, I'm bringing some of this old gear back. And today I started listening to you guys with my Mohawk receiver, which I had never played with it, didn't have much experience with it. Didn't work very well when I had it, and when I got it back, the receiver works fine, but the Apache transmitter is, I kind of say it's a parts rig, but that's not what it means. It had some mechanical problems, so when I got it back, it said it works, but the mechanical linkages need to be worked on. So anyway, I need to do that. But I heard you quite well on the Mohawk, but I'm cheating. I'm running a Flex 6400M through a 30L1. But I try to check in a little more regularly. But we've sold our home about 1.5 years ago. We moved to our log cabin near LJ for about 9 months, and we hunted around all over and ended up here. And the jury's still out a little bit on what we think of the Lake Arrowhead community. It's a nice community, but if you're going to do anything, you want to get a loaf of bread, it's 15 minutes. If you want something a little more significant, it's 20 to 30 minutes. I'm getting a little tired of driving everywhere. There are no stores here in the area. We do have a country club that you can go and eat at, but that's it. But we're getting used to it, and I appreciate you letting me get back in here. So let's see. I'm trying to think who was at the top of this. I think it was Steve on the T150, which I copied just fine. So back to you, and thanks for letting me in. N4LQ, W4UOC.
Actually, it goes back to me, Tom, WA4LLR. Let me take a quick standby. Do we have anyone else that would like to come join in with us? Come now. All right, I guess we got everybody. Okay, well, Tom, the Flex through the 30L1 sounds fine. And good deal on the location there at Lake Arrowhead. Ray, sure is good to hear you. It's been a while, seems like. But you're sounding good, and thanks for the signal report. Boom, the LMAC's doing a good job, as is the other Vintage gear. And, buddy, I am so sorry to hear about your shoulder. Man, I'm telling you, that's not any fun. My back did that. Let's see, I had physical therapy Friday for my hip. Saturday, I got up and did a few things, sat down in a chair, and when I got up, my back grabbed me, and I was bent over all day. Sunday at church, I kind of looked like the hunchback of Notre Dame. And then yesterday, I was a little straighter, and today I'm a little straighter, so the back is easing up, and I sure pray your shoulder does the same thing. It just smooths on out. John Fireball Roberts. Boy, I hadn't heard that name in a while, but those were, to me, those were the glory days of racing. I really enjoyed that. The old, Richard Petty and on and on and on. Those days were fun, and I agree with you. Now things are too, what's the word? Stereotyped, formalized, or something. I don't know. But I missed the finish of the race. Let's see here. Well, we have a little bit of a solar report. Sunspot count 64. Solar flux index is 152, and the K is 1.67. Got a great big sunspot just rotating into view that if you've got a filter or eclipse glasses, you can see it with your naked eye. It's a pretty good sized fella, so we'll just have to see what he holds in store for us. A few items from this day in history. On this day in 1962, John Glenn became the first American to orbit the Earth, which he did 3 times before he re-entered the atmosphere. On this day in 1986, the Soviet Union launched the core module of the space station Mir. And probably most of us talked to those fellows at one time or another on board the Mir. On this day in 1943, the volcano Paracutin in Mexico erupted, burying 2 villages. On this day in 1902, Ansel Adams, the landscape photographer, was born in San Francisco, and he absolutely was one of my favorite photographers. I always enjoyed his black and white work. And one other, on this day in 1942, Edward O'Hare became the first American fighter pilot ace, flying off the Lexington in the Solomon Islands. He shot down 5 Japanese bombers in 4 minutes. And of course, in 1949, they named O'Hare Airport, Chicago, after Edward O'Hare. So there you go. Let's go back down the list. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Q in the group, KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, Steve. You're booming in here on the highs, and but dipping out on the lows. Their QS Baker is creeping in, but you're the strongest guy this morning. You win the prize. Shifting gears, with NASCAR, innovation is what they have eliminated, and it was so neat in the old days, and I really miss that. My dad, my mother was from Darlington, South Carolina, and we spent the month of August, or a fat chunk of it, watching the time trials every year, and it was quite, and of course the race, Southern 500. But those were the days. And my son was a founding member of the Michael Waltrip racing team. He looked after computers, electronics, fuel injection, that sort of thing. And NASCAR wanted him to join them when that team folded. But they were such adversaries, they tried to shut down just about everything he did, and innovation-wise. And he just couldn't go to work for the enemy, so he works for Duke Energy now. And it just, it's a shame. Anyway, shifting gears again, Steve, the reason I haven't been on 160 meters is my 160 meter off-center fed Wyndham antenna is officially dead. There's about a 10-foot run of open wire line between my W2DU and my Guanella Ballon, and one side is flopping in the breeze. And I'm going to try to get my 60-something-year-old, very athletic next-door neighbor on the side opposite the guy with the solar system, and get him up on the roof and see if we can't get things back in action. Because I would definitely like to join you guys on 160. And that is my best. It's a resonant 160 meter antenna, so I don't have to mess with it. Well, I run it through the tuner, but that's the antenna of choice that I need to use for the evening rendezvous. So, on that note, over to you, George, and you're coming in pretty good today. K4GDN in the group, KZ4 Bravo, over.
KZ4B in the group, this is K4GDN. And, buddy, sorry to hear about the shoulder pain. Luckily, I don't have much trouble with that. I have some knee problems every now and again. And copying everybody pretty well, but as John said, USB is sitting in a little bit. And on the name, the Old Friends Club, well, we had another name. If you look at the Electric Radio November '99, I think number 127, we had to change the name. It wasn't the Old Fogies; it was something else, but it wasn't publishable, so they changed it to the Old Friends Club. And in looking at that article of the 13 people there, I've got notes in my book here that at least 6 have passed away, and right now I believe I'm the only one in the picture that's still active. I know there's some others still alive, but they're not active. But anyway, as I said before, I'm running the Ranger 2, putting out about 10 watts through the attenuator to the 3001. And it's running somewhere between, it's around 175 watts out. And would appreciate any comments that it sounds like. Hopefully it's okay. And anybody had any experience working with the 30L1, particularly with CW or AM, I would be interested to see what your comments are. it seems like the amplifier's efficiency goes up as you go to the higher bands. But I don't know. I'm running the Chinese 811As, 4 of them. And anyway, with that, let's pass it on to Buddy. WB4ARK in the group, K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4ARK. Okay, George. You got a very good signal since you've been using that configuration. Thanks everyone for the comments about the shoulder. I don't have any problems typically, but I was in the wrong position, and I knew I was hurting my shoulder, and when I got out of that position, it didn't stop. So I did something. So we'll let it go at that, but it's getting better. I'm able to work on the radio again, so anyway, that's a good thing, because this boy's got a bunch of problems in it. Well, weather here is clear, and not any clouds in the sky right now. So we went down to Duncan's on Sunday, did a little work down there in his yard. He's got a bunch of pine trees and stuff out in his yard that need to be cleaned up, and we've been out there doing that. And so that's about it for the train work. And aside from working on this KWM, I haven't been doing much else. Supposed to start welding on a boiler for a friend of his, which will start very soon. I guess as soon as my shoulder gets better. So that's about it here. So over to you, Cliff. WB4 NKL, WB4ARK.
WB4ARK, WB4 NKL. A good deal, buddy. And seems like I got something hurting, and it helps to be able to work on something and get your mind off of it. So it seems to help the situation. I'm trying to get ready for the Dalton Ham Fest Saturday. Got to load some stuff in the vehicle and get everything ready to go. So probably work on that today. Not too much else going on right now. It's kind of cool out. I had 23 this morning, and it's warmed up to 32 now. So it's supposed to be on up close to 58, 60 degrees. So pretty nice day. Sunny anyway. Looks like the weather's going to be pretty decent for Dalton. In the about 59 degrees there, they say. By the time we get ready to leave, it'll be 59 degrees. Probably be cold, like 30 something in the morning. But, that's about normal for Dalton Ham Fest. And Ray, I was wondering if you're going to make it up to Dalton, and anybody else that might show up. Go ahead, Boone. WA4 EVKs, WB4 NKL.
WB4 NKL in the group, WA4 EVK. Yeah, Cliff, it seems like all of us encounter that kind of thing. Good signals from everybody. Copy and George very well. Fading on a lot of the signals though this morning. I guess we're getting late in the day and the propagation's playing tricks. Yeah, buddy, I sure hope that thing comes around for you. I'm going to have have to sign and get out of here. I've got a doctor's appointment later this morning, so enjoyed it, and say 73s, and send it on down to W4VRO to take it, WA4EVK.
WA4EVK, handle that. W4VRO, 73 Boone. Hope you have a good day and a good report from the doctor this morning. Dave, you're right. I have not checked in much recently. I am very often not close to the shack at that time. And that varies a lot from one week to another. But, I hope I can check in a little more regularly now if things don't change. But always enjoy hearing you guys and listening to what's going on in the net. Steve, on looking for the receiver to match the T150, Glenn N4AK had a matching pair. I say had, he may still have it. But quite a long time ago, I saw the matching pair of those Allied kits in Glenn's shack. So I checked with him. If he doesn't have them, he may know who does now. That might be a possible place where you could get those too. Buddy, I'll pray that your shoulder has a quick and complete recovery. I wish you well with that. Dave, thank you for calling in. It's been a pleasure listening to everybody this morning. I hope you'll check in with us more often and get that Apache mechanical situation corrected quickly, I hope. Tom, I appreciate the signal report. I'm using Johnson 500. It's loaded to about 350 watts carrier to an inverted V antenna. So 73 to all, and thanks again, Dave. W4UOC in the group, W4VRO.
W4VRO, W4UOC. Gosh, 20 over is 9, and then it would take a dip down a little bit more. The band conditions are pretty rapid. Bend signal has just been tremendous. I've been switching back and forth between receiving on the flex and the mobile. I had this for years. Never really used it. I got it. It wasn't working very well, and they gave it away. But and that has more controls. That has a audio gain, RF gain, and an IF gain. I don't remember any receiver I've ever had that had an IF gain that was right on the front panel. So that's been kind of interesting. Well, I'm going to try to get in here a little more often. It's taken me quite a while to get sort of set up here. We have pretty strict POA, not HOA, but Property Owners Association restrictions. And I'm a big believer it's easier to beg forgiveness than permission. So I put up about 100 foot long end fed, quarter wave end fed, I think is what it's called. It's rated at 3 kW, the matching device, the balun, whatever you want to call it. And it has done a wonderful job. I sort of wonder, for years I was so careful to measure the antenna proper length, make sure that the feed line, if I was using an open feed line, it was the proper length and all this kind of stuff. I spent hours and hours flying trees and all kinds of crazy things on. I got up here and I thought, I'm going to sneak this antenna up. And in the matching unit, balun, whatever, I think it's a 49-to-1. It's tied to a ground stake. Well, it's not a ground stake. It's the service ground that was put in the house, and it's actually part of my basement But I tied to that, and I've just been delighted with this thing. I can work 10 through 80 meters, no problems whatsoever. Glad to get back on. I hang out with, as many of you know, a group on 3725. It doesn't have a name, but a lot of people think it's the health net because we're all groaning and moaning about various conditions and doctor's appointments, and it sounds like a lot of you have to do as well. But thanks for letting me in. I'm going to check out, see what my orders are for the day from my end. So, let's see. I'm trying to look and see who's checked out. I got check marks by a lot of names. Is WA4LLR? Is you still on the top, or are you near the top?
Yeah, I'm still on the top.
Go ahead.
Okay, fine business. The NFED's doing a good job for you, Tom. Hope you have a good day there. 7-3 to you. 7-3 Ray, good to hear you this morning. 7-3 Boone. I believe everybody else is still here. Steve, one comment on the receiver. I was talking to Don about those sets the other day, and I think I told you he worked for Night Kit Allied Radio for 2 or 3 years, I can't remember. And he said, if you're going to get the R100, do your best to get the R100A, because it's a much better receiver. I don't know what all they did to it, but he said they really improved it. So see if you can, in your searches, if you can find an A, you'll be better off. Let's see what else. Not much more. We'll go ahead. We certainly have time for a 73 round. I believe Steve and John, George, Billy, and Buddy, and Cliff are still in here. So we'll send it back around for one more. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. Sounds like you got some SDR going on there, Dave. But you're good and strong here this morning, and copying everybody just fine. And Tom, good on your 49-to-1. Your NFED's doing a good job up here. I'm glad you're happy with it. I still have one up for 160, but on 80 through 10, I'm using this horizontal loop that's triangle shaped up 100 feet, fed with ladder line. So that's what we're using right now. And Dave, thanks for the tip on the R100A. Yeah, it's usually best to go ahead and get the latest, the last one made in the A model. Glad to hear it's better. And it's really hard to find schematics on some of this stuff, especially the T150A. That thing is totally elusive, and John and I both have been kind of looking for a schematic for it to see if there were any changes on the schematic from the original T150. But we know that there probably was, but it's hard to find. Most of the schematics are just plain T150s. So I'm trying to think of some models that were newer that, well, the SX101 Hallicrafter receiver, let's see, the A model, they dropped the 160 band, so that kind of went the other direction there. And so there you go. Well, I guess we'll put in our 73s then, and it's been fun. And thanks for everybody that came, and hope you have a great day. And I guess we'll see y'all. We can see you tonight if you can get on 160 on 1864 at 8 p.m. Or next Thursday, this coming Thursday at 9 a.m. here. So this is N4LQ. Over to John, KZ4B. Go ahead and take it.
Okay, N4LQ in the group. This is KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, Steve, booming in as usual. I did want to make one last comment on NASCAR. Back in the old days, there was a black driver named Wendell Scott who was a great sportsman, great individual who raced on a shoestring, and he was the only black NASCAR driver going. And the other teams that had infinitely more money than he did would help him out when they could. Far cry from our current Bubba Noose Wallace. But he was a great guy and really fun to watch. Shifting gears, we are still trying to, like Steve said, trying to find out the difference between a 100, the T15 150 and the 150A. I've got a 150A and I can't really tell much of any difference, except there were 3 screws along the top of the front panel holding it in place, and that are not on the 150. Other than that, I have not been able to ascertain a difference. Possibly the tank coil was 1 gauge size larger all around, and the 150 itself is one of the better tank coils in that it's a very heavy gauge wire, especially on 20 through 6 meters. So that's all I've got. Dave, thanks for calling the net. Hope everybody can stay warm and have a good week. And by the way, Cliff, Mike and I, ND4S, will not be making Dalton, but Robert N4RY, who usually goes with us, will be there. He's got a display for his the Tar Heel antennas, and so he will be there. And so again, 73s, and let's see, George signed, Buddy signed, Boone. I'm not sure who gets it. I wasn't. Oh, Cliff. I think you're still in there. Maybe not. If I've screwed it up, Dave, straighten me out. WB4NKL on the group KZ4B clear but listening.
WB4ARK.
K4GDN.
Okay, go ahead, George.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure nobody was in there. And signal's still holding pretty well. QXP coming in a little bit. And Dave, thanks for calling in that. And hopefully I'll be here on Thursday. Oh, and by the way, I've got reservations set up. Hopefully I'll be at the April lunch. We're going to be up in Roebuck then. And hopefully I'll be able to get to the lunch and see you guys there. So be in here on Thursday. Buddy coming to you. WB4ARK and group K4GDN.
Okay, George, K4GDN, WB4ARK. Well, back in the latter days of my high school career, I hung around Holman and Moody so much that my father was afraid that I was going to try out for a driver. And he went out and saw John Holman and had a talk with him. Sat down in his office and told him that he didn't mind me coming out there, but he didn't want me to get involved with racing because I had a baseball career and I was headed to college. And so I went out there one day, and John Holman calls me into his office. He says, "Have a seat. I'd like to talk to you for a second." So he goes over this, tells me that he'd appreciate it if I didn't come out there so much. And but anyway, it was a great career. Baseball was, but I wish I had gone ahead with racing. I really enjoyed it, and it was something that I had a lot of fun getting involved in. I was at the track when Fireball Roberts was involved in his accident, sitting there right at the, just down from the start-finish line, had standing reservations for the race, the inaugural race at the track, and all the races after that until I relinquished it. I think I was about the second row from the top, which was a pristine place to be, and I had 4 tickets reserved, and so my friends and I went to many of the races. Very good time. 73, everyone. Hope everybody has a great week, and we're on the road to recovery. So, over to Cliff, WB4NKL. If he's not there, somebody else take it. This is WB4ARK, and thanks, Dave, for doing the net.
Now, WB4ARK is WB4NKL. Okay, good deal. And buddy, that was something. Being part of the NASCAR history sounds like. But you never know, which path to choose. But I think you've done all right. I'll say 73s and enjoyed it. Thanks for calling it, Dave. And I'll probably look for everybody there Thursday morning. I think Boone may be signed, so I'm not sure who he was turning it to. So whoever gets it, go ahead. This is WB4NKL.
I believe everybody else signed off. Let me make sure. Was there anyone else left?
Lady, if you're still there, I wanted to have a quick QSO with you about Holman. Over.
Sounds like you may have pulled the plug. All right, I'll go ahead and close the net out, and anybody that wants to continue certainly can. Appreciate everyone checking in. Hope you have a great week. Lord willing, we'll look for you on Thursday, 7-3. God bless. This is Dave, WA4LLR, Burnsville, North Carolina, closing this session of the Old Friends